Hi, my name is April and you're watching Coolirpa. That was my take on the Disney Channel intro in my new sewing studio right here. Eric and I moved into his parents' home because the home we were renting, our landlord sold it. So luckily, I have the sweetest in-laws and they let me turn one of the rooms here into my studio. They do have a lot of chickens outside though, so don't be surprised if you hear some chickens crowing in the back of my videos sometimes. So in today's video, I'm going to share 10 sewing mistakes that beginners make, and I say beginners, but even experienced sewers make these mistakes as well. But if you are new to sewing, I hope that these tips will help you have a better learning experience. And I hope that it saves you some time, fabric, and money because starting a new hobby can get expensive. I hope you enjoy this video and let's get started. Mistake number 1, not cutting your pattern out on grain. So on woven fabric, there is the warp, which is the lengthwise grain that goes up and down. And that grain line is parallel to the selvage edge of the fabric. And then you have the crosswise grain that goes horizontal, and that is called the weft. Then you have your bias, which goes diagonally across both of those, and that will give you the most stretch and the most beautiful drape. If you're using a commercial pattern, normally it will tell you the grain line, or if you are draping and creating your own pattern, you will be aware of where you put your grain line, and then you would transfer that onto your pattern. For example, here's a pattern I drafted, and since the center front is cut on fold, the fold line is my grain line. The next pattern piece is not on fold, and I marked a long arrow on my pattern indicating the grain line. You want to line the arrow with the selvage edge or the lengthwise edge of your fabric and use a ruler to make sure it's parallel all the way down. It's also important to make sure your fabric is on grain, and you can tell by folding your fabric in half and matching up the corners. Before doing this, you should find the true warp and weft so the corners are squared, and so you're not just following the uneven cutting from your scissors. If the corners are not matching up, grab the shorter corners and stretch the fabric diagonally until the grain line is straightened. In between, I like to steam and gently press the fabric to help the grain stay in place. This process can take some time, so it's important to choose your fabric wisely so you're not working with anything too difficult. Mistake number 2, not ironing and pressing your seams after sewing. Pressing your project before sewing the next step is going to help your seams lay more flat and allow for more accurate sewing. And overall, it's going to give a very professional look, even if your sewing wasn't perfect. P.S. Check out my new wool ironing mat. Since my room is smaller, I got rid of my ironing board to save space, and now I can film my pressing on the tabletop. When I use steam on this mat though, it does smell like sheep or the goats that our neighbors have. So if you're sensitive to smell, I don't recommend it, but honestly, it's so useful and saves lots of space. Link will be below in my description box if you want to check it out. I also learned that pressing your seams allows the thread to melt into the fabric, making the seam a lot stronger and giving it a more finished look. Mistake number 3, forgetting to add seam allowance so your garment ends up being too small and tight. If this is the top I want to recreate and sew, the seam line when I'm sewing it is here. But if I don't add seam allowance and just trace it as is, my seam line will actually move in more and I'll be sewing it smaller. So if you want your clothes to fit you properly, make sure to add seam allowance along all the sides. I normally add a 1/2 inch seam allowance on all of my patterns, but it really depends on where the seam allowance is being placed. If you are unsure or making it for someone else, it's best to always give yourself a bigger seam allowance so there's room for adjustment. Mistake number 4, using the wrong needle for the fabric type you're working with. I do think the problem is also not knowing what fabric you're working with. If that's something you struggle with, this book, Textilepedia, can help you learn more about fabric types. I'll link it below along with my 10% off code for anyone interested. Once you do know, you can do a quick Google search to learn what size and type needle to use. I also want to share what the numbers on the needle packs mean because it looks confusing, but basically the higher the number, the thicker and heavier fabric you can sew, and the lower the number is the finer the needle and the more lightweight fabric you can sew. It's confusing because there's two numbers, but the bigger number is just in European size and the smaller number is in US size. Not only is the needle size important, the needle type is as well, because there's different types of fabric like woven, knits, and leather that you might be working with. For example, when I sew stretch fabric, I make sure to use a jersey or ballpoint needle because the tip isn't as sharp. It's more rounded so it doesn't tear the fabric or break the elasticity. Here I was using the right needle type, but the stitches were still skipping, so I had to also change the needle size to a higher number and then it sewed properly. Lastly, make sure you're using the right size thread for your needle size. You don't want to be shoving a heavy thread into a fine needle because that will cause problems with your sewing as well. My problem with having a bunch of different size needles around is that if you don't put it back, then you kind of forget what needle it is. But the size of the needle is actually engraved on top. It's just super hard to see. Like you need a, what is it called? A magnifying glass. That's what it's called. You would need a magnifying glass to see the number, but if I squint really hard or hold it in the right light, I can sometimes see it. So if you also, you know, misplaced your needle or forgot what size it is or what it's meant for, you can try looking there. Mistake number 5, choosing the wrong fabric for the project you're making. Again, the book Textilepedia would be super helpful if this is something you struggle with. So here I flipped it to chiffon, and under that it gives a description of like the properties and the common things that people make out of chiffon. So it says blouses, scarves, lingerie, gowns, bridal wear, and embroidery. For me, because I've been sewing for so long and I study a lot of the clothes in my closet, I can kind of tell what material would work well for a blouse or for bottoms. If there's something similar in your closet that you can bring fabric shopping with you, that would be really helpful as well. That way you can compare the two in person. Mistake number 6, sewing stretch fabric with a straight stitch. This was a mistake I made as well as a beginner, and for some reason when we're learning how to sew, beginners are just more drawn towards stretchy fabric, and I think that's because we don't want to sew a zipper. The problem with sewing a straight stitch on stretch fabric is that it doesn't stretch with the fabric. So what happens when you try to put it on, the seam pops. Listen to this. Boop. Pop. A better stitch to use if you have it on your machine is the stretch stitch, or aka lightning stitch. And this stitch basically is a zigzag stitch that is very narrow, so it looks like you're sewing a straight stitch, but it's not, so it allows the stretching of the fabric still. If you do not have this stitch setting on your machine, a zigzag stitch will work fine as well. And as you get more experience with sewing and want to invest in a serger, that would be my number 1 option. Mistake number 7, not pinning and notching your fabric before sewing. When we're doing a lot of DIY sewing at home, we want to do things quickly, so we'll skip pinning and notching our fabric, but it actually saves you some trouble down the road if you take the time to do so. When I don't notch and pin my pieces together, one side can end up being longer after sewing, even though I cut them exactly the same. If I know I'm working with simple fabric that won't move, I can skip doing so, but ultimately I always regret not pinning and creating markings for my own reference. Mistake number 8. Pulling and pushing the fabric and forcing it through the machine. When learning how to sew, we think that we have to really help the fabric through, but there are feed dogs on the machine that kind of grip the fabric and move it along. All you have to do is gently guide it and make sure you are sewing straight or on your seam line. Mistake number 9. Not double checking your work before cutting and sewing. As the saying goes, measure twice, cut once, and as easy and quick as experienced sewers make sewing look, we actually spend a lot of time checking and double checking our work. It's a very tedious process, but I promise you it's gonna save you a lot of time seam ripping, and it'll save you from having a lot of headaches in the end. And lastly, mistake number 10. This one seems obvious, but when I asked on Instagram what were some sewing mistakes my followers made when they were first learning to sew, a lot of people said forgetting to backstitch. If you're new to sewing, you should always backstitch in the beginning and then at the very end to finish off your seam. This way, your seam doesn't just unravel and your garment comes undone. If you're just sewing something temporarily, there's no need to backstitch. That way it'll be faster to seam rip and take apart later. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps some of you out, especially those that are just beginning to learn how to sew. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned because I have more sewing tutorials coming up now that we are almost done making over my room. So stay tuned for that and I'll see you next time. Bye!